Welcome to Fox Sports Lab NBA in a week that Aussie Ben Simmons is making us sit up and take notice for all the right reasons. Hello and welcome. I'm Ben Dixon, your host, and joining me, as always, our NBA expert, Jaymz Clements. Welcome, James.
Thanks, Ben. I'm more over the moon to be here than Neil Armstrong.
Oh, Neil Armstrong. Hopefully you're on the moon soon. Coming up, we look at Ben Simmons' revival. Our two-time All-Star, Carlos Boozer, joins us, and we compare Giannis and Embiid, and also our two experts go head-to-head in some big weekend calls. Ben Simmons finally faced the Philly crowd, James. Well, is his redemption complete? Because it was a rousing reception, all negative, be it may.
Is his redemption complete,
Yes.
Dicko? No, it's not. But it's good first steps, isn't it? Good first steps. He's out there giving the Philly crowd a bit of a razzle-dazzle, giving the old shh. Love to see that. The thing is, his redemption's not until he, fully complete, until really he's gone into Philly, actually dunked the ball in the fourth quarter and hit some free throws. That's when his redemption is complete. If he does that, I think we're all flying. But I'll tell you what, it's just great to see him play with a smile on his face.
Yes.
Like, he looks like he's playing with a pep in his step. He's basically playing the most relaxed basketball of the last 2 years because he's finally back out on the court and doing what he does best, which is just play.
What about his 22 points, his 8 boards against the Grizzlies? Did you see that improvement coming so quick?
Probably not so quick, but I mean, we talked about this last week, right? It's about health. It's about the nerve damage that he suffered. He's very clearly, incrementally getting better back on the court. And so much of his game, Dicko, is just predicated around the simple fact of his physicality, like his speed, his burst. Literally, you see him out on the fast break. He just, if he puts his head down, shoulder forward, he's going at the basket. No one's going to stop him. It's awesome to see. But really, it's mentally and physically, getting over those injuries is going to be huge for him. Because, look, his floor each game should be 11, 7, and 7 each game. 11 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, away we go. He had 11, 7, 11 earlier this week. He had 3 blocks, 3 steals. Those are the stats that make more sense to me. The 3 steals, the 3 blocks. That means he's getting up and about on the defense. And, a couple of dunks here and there, off we go. It's just good to see him back. But look, his confidence is key.
Yep.
His confidence is key. His confidence in his body and in his mind.
Josh Green, another Aussie in good form. He 23 and 6 threes. It was all wasted though. What are the Mavs thinking? Career best numbers and you can't get the win.
You're killing my man Greeny. Absolutely killing my man Greeny. I love him. I love Josh Green. He does a little bit of everything for this Mavs team, and they just keep wasting it. So career highs across the board for Greeny earlier in the week. He has 23 points, drops to 6 threes, as you mentioned. I've been yelling for the last 15 months, just get him out there. But then he gets out there and misses a couple of threes. His confidence just bottoms out. But when he hits them, he looks unstoppable. He's a defensive menace. I love him. But seriously, Dicko, can you believe this Mavs team? They're killing me every time. What are you doing, Mavs? This is what they do. They waste a really great game by our man Greeny because they just can't beat teams with their actual good players.
Well, you just touched on that. So you're following the Mavs, you're frustrated because playing some good basketball, but when you come up against teams without their best players, normally you just chalk the win, but they're chalking losses.
It's crazy, right? It's all about their three-point variance, I think. So they take the 4th most threes basically in the NBA, around that, right? One of the top taking threes teams in the NBA. The thing is, they're hitting not many of them. They're the 19th worst three-point shooting team. So when you add that up, Dicko, it's the simple idea of going, we're taking lots of threes, but we're not hitting many of them. Yeah. That's a bit of a problem, and that's the variance, right? So the other thing for me is that the assist numbers are down for the Mavs. The assist numbers. This is a team that has Luka Doncic. They basically play inside out. He drives, he kicks the shooters, off you go. If you're not hitting threes, like we've just mentioned, the assists are going to go down because you're obviously not hitting shots. But really, if your assist number is down, it means the ball's probably sticking a little bit more. There's a little bit more on the perimeter, stop-start sort of movement rather than just moving the ball around. And seriously, losing to teams without their best players, that comes down to focus and defense, though. They lost to the Pelicans without Zion and Ingram. They lost to the Wizards without Brad Beal and the extreme zinger meal, Kristaps Porzingis. They lose to the Magic without the rookie Paolo Banchero, and they lose to the Nuggets without Murray and Joker. What are they doing? Missing shots. That's what it comes down to. Their defense is awesome, but in these games, they just lose it for a second. They lose focus, and they just don't have a backup plan because that's it. They're so Luka-centric. If the threes don't drop, the backup plan is, save us, Luka! And sometimes that's just not a great plan, because he can't do it all by himself. Just get Greeny out there doing some more ISO.
Just let Greeny do his thing. That's what. Let's talk Phoenix, and the Suns are shining, James. Let's throw that little one zinger in there. But they come up against the battling Pistons on Saturday. Is it a done deal?
Basically, you'd say so. But I mean, we just saw the Pistons earlier this week take it to a Denver team that had just gotten back some of their stars. But that Denver team did not have a Devin Booker, Ben Dixon, who just broke up with Kendall Jenner.
Whoa.
I'm just saying. He's broken up with Kendall. He's averaging 27, 5 and 6 so far this season. He might make a run at MVP now. He's focused. I love it. But the vibe is, seriously, he's going to go on the post-Kardashian bounce. This is actually a thing in the NBA. If you're dating any sort of a Kardashian clan, if there's a breakup involved, it either craters or it skyrockets. Watch Devin Booker go absolutely bonkers. But this Suns team is awesome because they're dealing with Chris Paul, who's got a severe case of I'm very old and I'm Chris Paul. So they're going to rest him during the season. He's out with a heel injury at the moment, Dicko, which is a good way of going, Dad, just take a couple of weeks off there, Chris, and off he goes. But they're still crushing it. Like, they're basically riding this incredible sort of revamped starting lineup where all their starters are dropping basically almost double figures each night. The bench is very thin, but when Booker's dropping like 49 like he did the other day, like he was scoring from all parts of the court. They lost that game against the Jazz, but it was really close. But Booker is just literally right there as a top 5 player in the NBA. This team is getting into fights with the Lakers. It's all going on. I love it. But seriously, they're one of the teams that could go big in the West if they make one move, and they've got that one to make. Jay Crowder, he's sitting there, he's not playing, he wants a trade. If they can sort of finagle that, make it work, they could be one to absolutely watch out for them because they can score with the best of them. They can absolutely just put up huge numbers, ride the Suns, I reckon, Dicko.
All right, well, you heard it first here. It's not keeping up with the Kardashians. It's keeping up with Devin Booker because he's just going to go nuts this weekend. Ben Simmons is back, baby. Here's to his basketball doing the talking.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
Time to talk the talk now as we welcome back our man, Carlos Boozer. Welcome, Carlos.
Guys, how you doing?
Oh, we're pumped to have you back on this show. We're going to kick it straight off with the Clippers. They're starting to flex their muscles, Carlos. They've got Paul George and Reggie Jackson getting it done. Kawhi's in and out, but can they keep it going?
Yeah, I like the Clippers, man. That's always been my sleeper team out there in the Western Conference. I think when they're fully healthy, obviously Kawhi's playing in limited minutes, but when those guys are fully healthy, they got a deep roster. They just signed John Wall, who just had 15 assists, first player to have 15 assists since they had Chris Paul. I like the Clippers a lot. They can play defense, they can play offense. When those guys are healthy, they're going to be something to watch out for.
I love it. The tricky case of the in-and-out superstar, though. And then we've got Ja Morant, who tweaks his ankle this week, decides, doesn't matter. I'm going to cut right back to it, gets back out on the court. He's a beast, Carlos. We know this. But seriously, is that smart to sort of tweak that ankle, try to play through it? How do you think the Grizzlies cope?
Yeah, I've had twisted ankles before. You always get the advice from the doctors and whoever, but my advice is Ja Morant knows his body better than anybody else, right? So if he feels good enough to get back out there, you saw what he did last night. He was fantastic again last night, playing at that MVP level for the Grizzlies. So if Ja feels like he can play, and most athletes do feel like we can play through injuries. Obviously, it's a long season, but he played so fantastic when he came back. I trust his word.
We love talking about the big rivalries, Carlos. How about the titanic battle between Giannis and Embiid? How do you rate these two superstars and who finishes on top?
Yeah, these are two great players. Obviously, Embiid is on a mission this year to try to get an MVP that he thought he should have won last year when Jokic won it. Giannis has won 2 MVPs. He also has won a championship and a finals MVP. I feel like if it was me, I'm going with the Greek Freak. I just think his motor, he plays so hard every night like it's his last game. He's had a ton of success early in his career, and he still plays like he's hungry for more. I would take Giannis, but I love the Embiid-Giannis matchup. Embiid, outed him last time. They got the win. He had better numbers than him. Then you saw Greek Freak after the game shooting a bunch of free throws because he missed a bunch of free throws in the game. A ladder got knocked over. I don't know what happened, but it was great to see that kind of rivalry.
Carlos, you sailed today on your 70-foot yacht down at Miami dock there. He's just going to have to wait because it's time to go head-to-head with our man James in the big call.
The betting brand brand for sports fans. That's Betr. Gamble responsibly.
It's time for James and Carlos to go head-to-head in the big call for another monster weekend of basketball. James, I'm going to start with you. Utah's big weekend. They've got the Warriors, then the Suns on Sunday. How does it play out for you?
Look, I love Utah. They've been the awesome surprise package so far this season. Their offense is absolutely through the roof. The problem is, Dicko, they're playing the Warriors and then the Suns. So, look, the big call here is they cover both of these games, but they lose both of these games to Golden State and to Phoenix. Utah are great. They're fun. Their guards are awesome. Between Clarkson, between Sexton, between the big man, the finisher, Larry Markkinen, it's all there. But I think they just come short against both of them.
Carlos, do you agree? Utah are going to go bang-bang?
Yeah, I agree. I love Utah Jazz. Obviously, I played there. They're doing a terrific job this season. They've been at the top of the Western Conference for the early part of the season. But some of these teams that struggled, like the Warriors, are starting to find their stride a little bit. They're scoring. Like Steph Curry's on a tear again. He's having a terrific season, playing like an MVP. I got the Warriors coming out on top in this game.
All right, we're going to look at the Pelicans versus the Grizzlies. Carlos, who are you giving the nod to in this one?
Oh, I'm a big Zion fan, but I'm an even bigger Ja Morant. I think the Grizzlies find a way to win the game. I think Ja's been spectacular all season. If he plays in this game and the ankle's okay, I got the Grizzlies finding a way to win. And also, Bane has been a terrific asset for Ja Morant.
Grizzlies, are you going with Carlos or Pelicans?
I'm going to have to go, I think, with the Pelicans there. You've got Zion versus Ja. You've got the number 1 and 2 picks from the 2019 draft. I just think the Pelicans are a little bit deeper. You've got big man Jonas Valanciunas out there in the middle with Steven Adams, the big Kiwi brew. I love him, but without, so Carlos mentioned Desmond Bane, just missing him, it's just probably a little bit too much. I think the Pelicans are just a little bit too deep and they get a win in an awesome game though, Dicko.
All right, Carlos, next up we've got the Nuggets and the Clippers. Who gets home in this one?
I got the Clippers. I mean, they're using Kawhi sparingly a little bit. He's playing 15 minutes here, 18 minutes there. I just think the Clippers are so deep. I do love the Nuggets. I love Jokic, of course, but for some reason, I think the Clippers come out on top.
Nuggets or Clippers?
I'm going to have to go Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are still vibing off that bubble series where they beat them down there with Carlos in Florida. Hanging out, look, with Kawhi sort of nursing another injury, I think, Denver and the Clippers are both really, really deep, but Joker, Jamal, MPJ, Aaron Air Gordon, as we call him, the Nuggets just have probably a couple too many weapons for this Clippers team, who are also really good. So I think the play here is actually the Clippers cover, Denver win.
All right, as we wrap up Super Saturday with the Bulls and the Thunder, is it giddy up time, James?
It's always giddy up time, Dicko. Josh Giddey. This is a walking triple-double. Josh Giddey going up against this Chicago Bulls team. They've just been wildly inconsistent all year between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, between Giddey, between the defense of this Thunder team. The only problem I think for them will be the big man in the middle, Vooch, big Nikola Vucevic. I think the Bulls will make a big fight of this. You'd fancy them going into it, but I think the Thunder actually win this one, Dicko.
Bulls or Thunder, Carlos, are you getting up with him?
I got the Bulls winning this one. I think DeMar DeRozan coming back off injury is terrific. I think Zach LaVine has been great. They're getting a little bit healthy, with the exception of Alonzo Ball, of course, not sure when he's coming back. But I like the Bulls in this one. They have been inconsistent, but I like their style of play.
Let's have a quick look at Sunday, Carlos. Who are you tipping out of the Mavs and the Raptors at Toronto?
Listen, I know the Raptors have guys in and out the lineup, but for some reason, they find a way to win. And you guys know how much I love Luka Magic. Luka Magic is phenomenal, but I think the Raptors find a way.
Who are you tipping?
I think I have to go the Mavs. I'm just going to keep going against Carlos, apparently. But I think this is the big wings in the Mavs versus the big wings like OG Anunoby and Scotty Barnes there in Toronto. Look, Toronto at home will be really, really tough. Look, the Mavs really struggle covering and have all season, but look, the Raps are a bottom 7 3-point shooting team, I think, at the moment. The Mavs, with their 3-point shooting variation, I think they can actually just pull this one out.
All right, James, our final one is the Lakers and the Spurs. Who are you going in this one?
They actually play twice this weekend, Tico, which is crazy. I think this is a great get-right spot for the Lakers. I think they actually win both of these. They might decide to sit Anthony Davis one of these games perhaps, but who knows if LeBron is back for the other one perhaps. I think the Lakers can win both of these games against the Spurs on the weekend.
All right, you're going with the Lakers as well in straight sets?
I do. I like the Lakers. I think Anthony Davis is finally hitting his stride. You saw Kevin Garnett kind of give him an inspirational speech before the season started to play like an MVP. He's starting to do that. He's had 4 or 5 games now where he's been crushing it offensively, rebounding the ball, been the number one option. Obviously, LeBron hasn't been there, but you see how his numbers have gone through the roof in the last 4 or 5 games. Lakers win these 2 games in San Antonio.
Well, it's a whole lot of my week thanking you coming on the show, Carlos. Another cracking display. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
That's our show for today. James, before we let you go, what's one thing we should be watching out for this weekend?
Well, can I give you 2?
Yes, you can.
All right, let's do a quick multi, I think, if you want to get some results in here. I want the Pelicans over Memphis. I think we've got that awesome Zion Jar game. We've got Phoenix over Detroit, Warriors over Utah. Extra bonus, Warriors Utah. That's going to be a points fest. Go the over there.
There you go. I asked for one. He just keeps giving this, man. Thanks for joining us on Fox Sports Lab NBA. Don't forget to subscribe below and follow us on socials. We'll see you for another massive show next week.